Hi, I'm Brienne.
And I'm Jennifer. We're a married couple raising two teenagers, Maxwell and Faith, in rural America. So we're both moms.
On today's episode, we're going to be talking about at-risk youth, and specifically being a parent of kids who are at risk.
By at risk, we mean that a child is at increased risk of violence. Now, we know that that phrase is used for a lot of things culturally right now. It could mean at risk of failing in school or at risk of going hungry. There's a lot of at-risk youth that people use that phrase to describe. But for today's
at risk
episode,
of suicide.
yes, absolutely.
At risk of being homeless.
Yes.
At risk of joining gangs.
Yes. But today, all we're going to be talking about is youth at risk, at an increased risk than their peers of violence. Welcome back, everyone, to Mom on Mom. I'm Jennifer.
I'm Brienne, and this is our guest today, Abby Eckmeiser.
We've worked with Abby on a lot of different film projects over the last couple of years, but she is way more than that. Not only is she a veteran, not only is she a master at all things science fiction and fantasy, and the go-to person for any person organizing a con anywhere in the world. It's true. Abby is also a mom. And our topic today is going to be
Youth that are at risk of violence.
all right. So that is a pretty major topic. So before we tackle that one, ladies, I have a surprise icebreaker question for you. Now, our icebreaker questions are meant to be lighthearted and to help people loosen up and just get into the spirit of being, well, mom on mom. And by that, of course, what we are talking about here on this show is to never mom shame and to support each other, because ultimately we're the best community there is out there. Because, well, as moms, we do all go through a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah.
But I also understand that sometimes the icebreaker questions that may seem trivial to me might be kind of serious to you guys out there or to these two wonderful women here. So I never know how this is going to go, so bear with me. Today's icebreaker question: manual or electric toothbrush?
Oh my god. This question has haunted me for so long. So I've got like amazing insurance, right? Dental insurance. And I have to go and see a dentist at least once every 6 months. And I always get that. Why are your teeth black? Oh, because I just did a zombie thing and
Dentist face.
like, you did a what? So I get that, okay, you need like these special toothbrush. And I've been told that I need a Sonicare.
Wow.
I can't do manual. I'm not allowed. My dentist forbids it. I'm not even kidding. Every single time. And so last time I literally just had a checkup about 3 weeks ago. And my dental assistant, she's like, so, when are you gonna get that Sonicare? I was like, how do you know?
And also, do you guys have like an affiliate?
Why do you keep
asking me this?
Where's that 10% off?
Oh my gosh, yes. Where's use code Abby for 10%? Great, yeah.
Seriously? Yeah, it's I'm still like in shock. It's like, you know how some moms have like eyes in the back of their head kind
Yes.
of thing? They're
Dentists know.
Yeah.
They know.
They know when you're flossing, they know when you're not flossing. They know what kind of candy you're eating. They know when you had popcorn.
All of that is terrifying.
Oh, it's so bad. I have my life flash before my eyes anytime I get into a dentist chair because I know that they're going to tell all the dirty little secrets that I have since the last time I saw them. It's like, oh, so you had a nutty bar 3 days ago.
Was that your cheat day?
That's right. It's like,
Let me check the Abby app. I don't think it was.
It's like, oh, there's that popcorn.
Oh, man.
Sorry, I flossed, I did everything. They're like, no, it's fine. We get it. Sometimes, people have kernels in. And I was like, never eat popcorn again. It's not. Totally electric. 100%.
Here we go.
At least for me. Other people.
And I mean, I guess we should say by electric, mechanical,
Mechanical.
battery powered, rechargeable.
Yeah.
I don't know, do they come plug in?
There'd be an electrocution risk.
Yeah, right, water. Yeah.
I once had an electric toothbrush many years ago, and it was Wolverine.
Oh,
I was not a child. I was 19. That was my last electric toothbrush.
Oh, okay.
It was great.
Did Wolverine fight back one day, or why did you stop using an electric toothbrush?
Just wore out.
Oh.
And then I was broke.
Right? Abby did begin her story by saying, so I have really good dental coverage.
Yes.
Moving on.
You have to.
Chronic care.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we could get deeper with this topic. I mean, like,
for me, it's not I'm a bit obsessive compulsive, and I always felt like for someone who has about as much space between her teeth as I have teeth in my mouth, just because that's how they grow, I brush way too often. Like, I brush for the spaces and I brush for my teeth. So I always thought to myself, well, these fancy schmancy mechanical toothbrushes, they're gonna wear out too fast. Because I'm used to buying toothbrushes at the dollar store, 6 for $1, and and Brienne has tried to argue. She goes, maybe if we get you a more expensive toothbrush, it will hold up longer. And I'll be like, no, it's fine.
Still.
And I know that it's time to change my manual toothbrush because I'll go to floss and there'll be toothbrush between my teeth.
Oh no.
And I
Oh
think to
yeah.
myself-
And the bristles are flat on the toothbrush.
Yeah.
Like the toothbrush, and then the bristles instead of this way
Yeah.
are all like.
That spread out like spirit fingers.
Oh, I've heard. I saw recently that you can actually dip your toothbrush into like boiling water for a few seconds or something. I don't know. Google it. And it'll actually put them back
Reset
in
it?
the right.
Oh, for a manual toothbrush though.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know about electric. I'm not touching that. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe. Probably just the head. Probably the replaceable.
Yeah,
part. You might
that
be able
makes
to do
sense.
that. I don't know.
Now, what about?
But if the bristles are coming out, then maybe.
Since
Yeah.
this
Be
is
done.
a show about, ultimately,
Yeah.
it's about the moms.
Yeah.
My feeling is if they're brushing, I call it good.
But
If they
Yeah.
need a superhero character or Wolverine or whoever, Hugh Jackman, I don't know.
Wolverine.
If they need Hello Kitty,
Yeah.
if they need Batman,
oh, I see what you're saying.
that will make them brush their teeth. Okay, if they
Yeah.
cannot, I know there's a lot of moms that I know who have told me their kids cannot do the electric ones because the vibration
Yeah, it
drives
throws
them
them off,
crazy.
yeah.
It's like it's this sensory textural thing that
Yeah.
they're just like,
Yeah.
nope, cannot do it.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, if they're brushing, if they have any kind of hygiene at all, I'm like,
Yeah.
Okay, good.
We're good.
if they shower, if
Yeah.
they wash their hair, if they brush their teeth, I'm like,
Especially if they shower.
deodorant. But
I have to constantly, and I'm not trying to throw him under the bus, but I have to constantly remind Chris.
It's a mom show. Go
I
ahead, Abby.
I have to constantly remind Christopher to brush his teeth because he has the world's worst halitosis.
no.
And we'll just be hanging out, like if we, leave the house or we're going out somewhere, because when he comes to visit, it's so few and short that I have to take him out, different places so we can just go out and go do stuff. And I'll just be having a conversation with him, and I'm like, Christopher, you didn't brush your teeth. And he's like, I was brushing, I was trying to put my shoes on, and I'm just like, so I have both for him. He has an electric toothbrush in the house that he uses because he's very lazy. I love you.
We love you all.
Don't hurt me. But that's like exercise for him, and he doesn't want to do it. So even just a little amount of exercise, he's like, oh.
You gotta figure out how to get a toothbrush like mounted on the wall. So you can just, like,
Inside of the pillow? Time to nap.
Like I'm sleeping and just brush
I want to say I saw something recently that you like bite onto and it brushes your teeth.
Yes, there's a new Facebook thing for
Yeah.
Like they do it was for adults first, but now they actually started doing it for little kids and having like little superhero stuff on it. And what it is it's like, those little whitening things that you used to just put in your mouth and turn the light on?
Yes.
And it would brighten your teeth. Now
These
they
brush
have
your
it,
teeth.
these actually brush your teeth.
Yeah.
They're the same size, right? Like you're just like a little
you're just like
disc.
Like a mouth guard for boxing.
Yeah, so
But there's a little bit of an
so
outside
there's a
too.
disc on the outside, and then there's a mouth guard, and in the space is where your teeth are supposed to go, and there's brushes there. And so you put it in, it literally vibrates the inside of the mouth guard back and forth, so that way you're not doing anything. The one nice thing about it is that there's no arm motion. You don't have to hold on to anything.
And you don't have to worry about like missing a spot or
You literally
that was the thing, like
put it in your mouth and you can walk around.
yeah.
I was going to make a snide comment, like, how much laser can we get? And then I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
There's a lot of benefit here. First of all, people with limited mobility or grip,
Oh yeah.
hand dexterity that's limited, or
Parkinson's.
your
Yeah.
your kiddo will sit in front of the TV but won't brush their teeth. Oh, here you go. You get 15 minutes of SpongeBob and you're going to brush your teeth.
Yep.
I'm kind of like, oh,
They can
nobody.
pull a tablet while it's in their mouth.
Yeah,
Right.
Just go do whatever.
Well, and for me, like for kids, I'm like, you're not gonna miss a spot because that's
Yes,
the hardest
no,
thing
that's
with,
true.
especially with little kids,
Mhm.
is telling them you have to get the front, you have to get the sides, you have to get the back, you have to get the tops and the bottoms and behind and like all the places, and they never make it to those back molars.
The back molars,
Right.
all the way where the wisdom teeth are and
Mhm.
everything, and so like I was looking at investing in it. Not now, obviously, because I don't have a place for it. But it just looked like such a nifty idea. Like
Yeah.
even just for an adult,
Yes.
just to be able to do everything else while you're brushing your teeth at the
Yes.
same time. And it's not, and I didn't see it as too much of a lazy thing because I'm like, you're still taking care of a part of your body.
Right.
That,
Yes.
Yeah, however you're doing it, do it.
And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm like, that would be so good for Christopher. Oh my God,
Yeah,
Yeah, he doesn't have to lift his arm, he doesn't have to do any workouts or anything. Even like the electric toothbrush, he does this thing and he's just like,
Christopher, if you would like to petition for us to stop casting your mom. I mean, it's not going to work,
It's
honey.
not.
If you want to do a petition, she can always bring that petition.
Like change.org.
He totally would too. Like,
You
hold on,
can
I'm
get
setting this up right now.
10,000 signatures. All of those 10,000 people subscribe. We guarantee we'll cast her only occasionally.
I love you. I have to, but for manual toothbrushes, I have to hide toothbrushes in the car. I have to.
Well,
Because if we go to, like we do the Vancouver trip a lot now,
Yeah.
right? Because he's fallen in love with Vancouver and I absolutely love Vancouver. And so we'll go up there and every single time I ask him before, like even right after we leave the house, did you brush your teeth? Because it's every single time. Every single time I'm like, Christopher, I love you, but your breath is kicking. Okay? Honey, please. I don't know what you ate last night, but it sounded like it crawled in your mouth. Or it sounded like it crawled in your mouth and farted.
And then died.
Like, we need to fix this. So, and it's well, and the nice thing is now that he's going to be coming back towards the summer, you know, we can get his regular dental checkups. And I have no idea how he doesn't have more cavities than I do, because every single time I go in, they're like, oh, look, another cavity. And I'm like, how? I'm not eating. And Chris is just like, whoop-de-doo. And I'm like, oh.
I promise we will post this episode after Mother's Day.
Good.
I'm sorry about that, but
I want my present for tomorrow.
so today, now that I think that we're all warmed up and we've gotten a little hilarity out of the way, I think we're going to dive into our topic of the day. And yeah, so it's going to get a little heavy, you guys, but we promise to stay honest and not pass any judgment on other moms, because mom shaming is not okay. But let's explore this topic about being parents who are raising kiddos who are at a higher risk of violence. Oh my gosh, huge transition there, guys, but Christopher, Maxwell, we love you.
So I have 2 kids. Obviously, you know, because they're also your kids.
Oh yeah.
So I have 2 kids.
I'll sell them to you for a penny.
Maxwell, who is 19, and Faith, who is 16, who is turning 17 next month.
Oh my God.
I know.
I feel so old.
In this episode, we're not going to be specifically talking about girls and how they have an increased risk of violence. That is certainly an issue, especially in America. That's a huge societal cultural issue.
Yeah.
But that is 50% of our kids. And so that we're actually going to be saving probably multiple issues involving that for a different episode. So today what we're specifically going to be talking about are very particular groups of kids who are at risk of more violence than other kids.
Okay. All right, and kind of crossing gender.
Right, yeah, not really gender specific.
Okay, that makes sense to me. That makes sense to me. So now, Abby, your son, Christopher,
Yes.
who may not talk to you
With
after
a
this
K.
episode. And, I mean, when we talked about you coming on Mom and us talking about a topic, you and I went back and forth a little bit. It's almost like we didn't have a word for what this topic was, like a phrase.
Yeah.
But what do you want to say? What do you want to start with?
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, just being a mom in general is just scary, because you are fearing for your child every single day. With the climate the way that it is now, it's gotten so much worse. But you also have to learn how to give them the space that they deserve, because they're at a certain age. So Chris just turned 18, and I'm learning that is a whole new world. Like, I guess when I was younger, I never imagined myself ever, first of all, being a parent, let alone being the parent of a now 18-year-old, let alone being the parent of an African-American male, let alone being a parent of a queer African-American male. So Chris literally hits every single one of those buttons that makes me even more and more scared every single day, because there is violence now. Well, there's always been violence, but it is finally coming into light that there is violence against people of color.
Very disproportionate.
They're very. Now it is coming to light with an actual social media presence that there is violence against queer people. And it's one of those situations where, way back then we were so scared to say that we were queer, right? Because we were worried about what our social standing would be like, or if people would be scared of us because they automatically thought we had the AIDS, right? Because that's how AIDS is spread. You have to be queer, right?
Right.
And so, we're not in that stigma anymore. Now everyone is somewhat allowed to be free and whoever they want to be. But that also comes with violent tendencies because now you have to fear for your life.
Because we're more visible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you have to worry about, walking down the street and possibly, and Chris loves hoodies and I'm trying to get him out of it.
What a horrible thing for you to even have to say.
Yeah.
My American son loves hoodies.
Yeah.
I'm trying to break him of that habit. What?
Yeah.
I'm wearing one right now, and
Yeah.
they're pretty much. I mean, like, if you like a YouTuber and you want their merch, or if you go to a concert and you want some merch,
Yeah.
any kind of merch.
Or you just
there's
want
a
to be
hoodie.
warm.
Yeah, there you go.
Comfortable. It's not even
Yeah.
just comfortable.
Yeah, comfortable.
And you can't do that in
Right.
America.
Sorry, honey, you don't have the
As-
freedom to do that.
Yeah,
But you
no,
can't be a black
sorry.
man and wear a hoodie.
You're a teenage
just-
black man.
Yeah.
You cannot wear a hoodie.
And God help you if you have a cell phone in your hand.
Or you're walking outside at night from school or
Right.
from some special activity,
Yeah.
and you are about to take out a thing of M&Ms or something,
Right.
and you get shot.
Because you were using the pockets in your
Yeah,
clothing.
right.
Because you're wearing a hoodie.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be,
Oh, yeah.
comfortable. Or you just saw a thing and you wanted to get it.
I understand that already we might be setting some folks off, because our community and what Blue Forge is about bringing human beings together across all these different kinds of lines. But that does mean that we have people all along the spectrum. Now, we don't foster hate, but we do have people that dynamically are opposed in a lot of different opinions. So when the three of us are nodding and we're angry and we're talking about, a young black man should be able to wear a hoodie and reach into his pocket and take out M&Ms and the police don't shoot him, I understand that some of you guys are going to quickly argue, well, the police say, show your hands, and if someone doesn't immediately show your hands, I've heard all of these arguments. So please, let's just say, remember, we are coming from a place of moms. Should a mom have to tell her son, maybe don't wear a hoodie?
Yeah.
Guys,
Let's
it's
just
a hoodie.
stay on point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to cut that off. What we're
Or keep
talking
your
about.
hands out at
Right,
all
or-
times.
What? These are good kids. These are kids, okay?
Yeah.
These are not, even though I hate to say this, I'll say these are not felons, but I mean, just because someone's a felon doesn't automatically mean that they want any trouble. Maybe they just want to go from their job to their home because they can't afford public transit or Uber or all these other things that we take for
I'm
granted.
just gonna throw this out because sometimes I don't want to shut up. There's been many, many times on camera, cell phones, like you're talking about, social media.
Yeah.
People are following exactly what they're supposed to be and they're still shot dead.
That's
So don't say they should have been doing what they were supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Because that's a bunch of bull. And
Every
it doesn't
single
seem to make
time.
any difference.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you have that instance of a guy who's with his family in a car and he had his hands out and he was still shot with his wife and his child still in the car. So, when I hear things like that, or, in our very own city, where a woman had called the police, a pregnant woman had called the police because she heard an intruder in her house. And so she wanted to protect the rest of her kids and she got a knife. The police showed up to her house and still shot her. And then you can also hear a tape of them giggling and laughing outside.
So it's like, I almost want to say, like, of that particular case, it's like putting ourselves in the mom's shoes. What are we supposed to tell our kids? If you feel threatened, don't try to protect yourself. So as mom, because again, bringing everything back around to like the mom perspective, and also as moms, don't try to protect your kids.
Don't worry, the police will get there in time. Just cower somewhere and don't look threatening.
I'm sorry that I'm rolling my eyes.
Once the police are going to come to my door, if I think there's an intruder in the house, and find me either unarmed or not with a baseball bat, that's just not going to happen.
Well, no, you're a white lady in rural America, so
Yeah.
you're allowed to have a shotgun. You're allowed to have
handgun.
You're allowed to have different pistols and knives and I don't know broadswords on you.
Ninja stars.
That's true, and they'll be cheering me on. That is true. So
Yeah.
I'm not oblivious to the fact, I'm not blind to the fact that yes, absolutely, race does come into this.
Yes.
And also,
does.
as you just mentioned,
Yeah.
also location.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, no, location does matter
Yeah.
because
100%.
taking it away from race,
Yeah.
you know, we live in rural America.
Mhm.
Abby lives across the water
Yeah.
in slightly less rural America.
Yeah, more urban, definitely.
You know, so I can be out,
Right.
but when I'm going into town, I'm not going to be wearing my Pride Comic Con shirt
Yeah.
because I think about that. I think, oh, I'm going on a walk. Yeah, I'm going on a walk. I don't know, 5 miles from town.
But
Where
did
I
that
live,
happen?
Rurally, I'm like, I'm not going to paint myself as a target.
Yeah.
Right.
But that happened
You know,
to
and I'm
us.
like, and that's this year.
That was one time that I think it was last year, or a year before last, that we were filming, and we had Neighborhood Watch come out because we were,
Yeah.
we were just minding our own
Yeah.
business,
Yep.
and someone saw a suspicious person.
You're very suspicious, I can tell.
And I will
It's like, they can't even see me at night. What's the problem?
I will say of that situation, which I've thought of many times, what I found really curious about it is that
The scene that we were filming with Abby involved Abby as a mom.
Yeah.
I mean, quintessential more than probably any other role she's had with us, as this mom at heart before she's anything else. And she has crumbled outside this like abandoned gas station, and she's crying because her daughter has run away and she can't find her. And a apparition, a ghost of a young boy that she treated because she's a doctor, appears standing behind her shoulder. Abby is on her knees on the ground crying, and very believable. This is a very authentic scene. This first season of the series is leading up to this moment, and
it was Maxwell actually who our son played Abby's patient who had passed,
Yeah.
almost son.
Ghost, yeah.
And so there's this white young man standing over this black woman who's in tears, and I try to find the best in people.
Yeah.
So when Neighborhood Watch, complete strangers, stopped and like pulled and started watching what we were doing, I'm the short white woman standing off to the side with a cell phone, filming it because of the lux on the special phone that we had or whatever it was. But walking away from that situation, I tried to tell myself, wow, that was really awesome. They were making sure that this black lady was okay.
Yeah.
But actually, I'm like, wait a minute, they never came forward.
Remember I told you?
Abby was finally like, Jennifer, people are like watching over. And I like stopped and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's so nice. They're looking. No, they were just standing there watching.
Which is hilarious because this particular spot is a spot because there is no business that's actually there. It literally is
It's
it's an
abandoned
abandoned
gas
gas station.
station,
Well, it's not abandoned per se, but it's not. There's no business there, and it's for sale.
Oh, I see what
And
you're saying.
it's just sitting there empty, right?
Yeah.
And people stop there all the time. I don't know what people are doing. There's always a car that's just parked there. Sometimes the police are there waiting for someone to speed by.
Yeah.
I've seen people like switch their kids, I think in like divorce cases where they have to meet up and, you know, switch the kids for the weekend.
Public area.
And I'm like, who knows, there's maybe drug deals going down. I don't know.
Yeah, but
There's
you
also
see
some
those-
weird corners around where we live where like something suspicious is going on there.
Yeah.
No one cares ever. And this, people
That
stopped.
is the one time that people
Yeah.
actually showed up.
And I was just like, it
scared.
just doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I already knew.
And I'm
Right,
just
But
like,
I'm so used to
Oh
it.
yeah, you were just
Yeah.
you were so naive. I mean, not in a mean way. I mean, you weren't like Jennifer, ignorant. You know,
Yeah.
like, that was so sweet. You're like, no,
Yeah.
babe, no, that's not. There's nothing sweet going on here. I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right. But I mean, that is like the same kind of thing. Again, like going back.
Yeah.
Is your mom supposed to have raised you, you know, don't ever get into trouble anywhere in public because no one else in public is going to stop and help you.
Yeah.
And yet,
then should you have to raise your children to be fearful like that?
yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes, but yes,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm not trying to make
Yeah.
fun of it. And what kills me
I mean,
is
it's
that
horrible,
I never
but
learned
it's the
that.
truth.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I never learned that when I was growing up because my parents, you know, were raised in Africa.
Yeah.
Right? So when they came here, I mean, obviously, I grew up during a later period. I'm not going to say when, but we didn't have the
How
same
old were you Abby, when
issues.
you came to the U.S.?
So I was born here, and then I spent my childhood up until
secondary school in England,
Oh, okay.
and then came back, and I was here for secondary school, university, and never had to deal with any of the things that we are dealing with right now.
Right.
So being thrown in a position where now you have to tell your kid, hey, you have to keep your head down wherever you go, whatever you're doing.
You're a good kid.
Yeah, my
You're
kid
a
who
gifted,
who
academically
is
driven
a
kid.
genius.
Yeah.
And so I have that fear, but at the same time, I know that he's smart.
Mhm.
And we've had the conversation. We've already had all of the conversations because we have to, right?
Yeah.
We've had the download of the apps, and the programming of the macros, because there are certain macros, love you Apple, that, Apple has made where you can tell your phone, hey Siri, I'm doing a thing, or hey, something, call somebody, right?
Right.
And there's
Yes.
a macro where it actually automatically videos everything that you're doing. And then after a certain amount of time, it'll send the video to somebody on your contact list that you choose.
Just the fact that that exists.
Yeah.
And now,
And that it needs to exist.
right, and that
Yeah.
it needs to exist, and that I'm sitting here and don't know that, even though statistically, I have a child at increased risk for violence, and yet, you see, that again tells me race is in play here.
Yeah.
And that makes me upset,
Well, and
because I don't feel like moms of a different color should be having to raise their children in a different way, and yet, that's the simple truth.
And they used to have
Yeah.
apps where you had to touch it, but now that just throws anybody off, right? If you move even the slightest.
Right.
So that's why they made this other one. I mean, I think it goes along without saying that now we have this other app that's out there where you can already program it ahead of time and then just speak out loud. Hey Siri, can you, look up a road for me or something like that. Whatever you program in it is
Right.
your safe sentence or something
Yeah,
like that.
like a passive.
Like a
passive,
yeah.
Yeah.
And then it'll automatically do it because you have all of these instances where, someone just moves in the slightest
Right,
and then they're shot.
yeah.
They're told, give me your ID and registration.
Yeah.
They reach for it, they get shot.
They get shot, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's
Let alone touching a phone.
it's so sad that we have to deal with this now. Because you're also getting to this point where even body cam footage can be altered in some way, shape, or form. You can't trust it.
Or lost.
Oh, lost. You can't trust
Right,
it,
yeah.
So you have to just do your own. Like, just a couple days ago, the lady that was in Atlanta that was arrested, or Georgia that was arrested, I forgot what her name was because my memory is really bad. But her video that she took finally surfaced. Yeah, so they actually know what actually conspired between her and the police officer that shot her. Yeah, or actually, I don't remember if he shot her. No, so he handled her really, really aggressively, and then took her to jail, and she was abused in jail, and she died in jail.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think I do know.
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Right,
So
which
her
is,
video just
it's
came out.
horrible when it's a particular detail that,
Yeah.
reminds us of something, but, okay, well,
Yeah.
I'm glad. The footage finally surfaced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the difference of the Black Panther movement and the hippie movement. The hippie
Yeah.
movement, they would hate on their people, right? And that's why the movement didn't go so far and it didn't last that long.
The Black Power movement, though, everyone banded together. They saw deaths of these powerful, not even powerful, but these leaders that were just ordinary people that were like, hey, I know that you're having issues in your town, so I'm gonna get a bunch of people and we're gonna march through your town. How about you join us, so we can stand up to whoever that says that you are not allowed to vote. We're gonna go march down to City Hall and make sure that you can register so these guys don't have the power to kick you out. And I'm like, that just one man, one preacher was like, let's go do a thing. And everybody, millions and millions of people white, black,
Mm-hmm.
any, like, they all joined in and they just made this. And then he was like, you know what? What if we march from one city to the capital?
And everyone was like, man, you're stupid, but you know what? We're gonna do it anyway.
A public show of solidarity.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like it kind of wakes people up to say, okay, are we all remembering what's right now?
Yeah.
You know, a moment ago, in the break between the segments, you guys said something that, or what you were saying boiled down to this idea of should a young adult deserve to lose their life for a small, stupid mistake? Like, for instance, not reaching for ID fast enough, reaching for a cell phone too fast. You know what I'm saying, guys?
Yeah.
Things that really, as parents, we know aren't mistakes at all.
Yeah.
But let's just say. Or, you know, like Abby, in the example that you gave of a television show you just watched, you know, a kid goes and buys drugs.
Mhm.
You know, I'm not talking about any kind of major, you know, little party drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the right thing. But does that young person deserve to lose their life because they are wearing a hoodie in the wrong neighborhood,
Yeah.
because they're a young black male, because they are somewhere on the spectrum, and so when the police say, hey, they startle, they get afraid, they're not quite sure what to do,
Or they have trouble following directions.
or they have problems following directions.
Or
Now,
they're not verbal.
That
Yes.
I've seen
So
that in another
now-
episode too, where there was a kid that was autistic, or not even a kid, but a man who was autistic, and he was walking on his own, talking to himself,
Mhm.
and a police car had driven by, and they kept shouting at him, saying, "Hey, hey," and he wouldn't answer them because he's
Right.
you know.
Yeah, he's in his
Autistic
own
kids
world.
don't-
He's in his own world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're doing their own thing, you know,
Mhm.
like they don't care about anybody else.
That's right, yeah.
So the fact that you're not getting attention
Mm-hmm.
and you have no idea what this person is going through, who
Right.
they are, what
And you
they're
expect
dealing with,
everyone to be neurotypical
you
and
cannot.
perfect and
it's not okay.
yeah.
It is not okay, and it is no.
It,
It's just
it
like-
gives me hope.
That there are mainstream television shows out there that are addressing some of these issues that as moms, we are struggling with every single day. You know, we have a lot of our friends who are parents of neurotypical kids, and they'll be like, you know, you should really encourage Max to do X, Y, or Z. And I'm like, I love how you said, Abby, a moment ago, Chris and I have had all the talks.
Yeah.
It's like people say, well, you know, just tell Maxwell if there's ever a police officer, he absolutely needs to listen to and I'm like, well, no, no.
Yeah.
Because, okay, now we're getting, so like we could say, now let's go back to race, now let's go back to socioeconomics. Brianna and I didn't grow up in working class neighborhoods,
Yeah.
not by any stretch of the imagination. We were not raised to automatically trust the police. I'm not trying to police slam here
Yeah.
or do anything like that. I'm just saying the truths that we come from.
So to then be told the safest thing for us to do with our son who lives with autism is to tell him to basically stop, drop, and don't roll.
Yeah.
If you even see a police officer or that police officer addresses you in any way, shape, or form, you should drop to your knees and do whatever they say. I'm sorry, that is beyond my skills as a parent.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I can't tell him that every police officer is going to have his safety and well-being in their hearts at every little moment, especially if he's stimming, and so he's moving in a way that might be erratic,
Yeah.
or he's panicking because he's never had someone shout at him before.
Or he's having an anxiety attack because he also lives with anxiety.
There we go.
Yeah.
And I think what's hard for me is that I completely agree with you in that I see these videos, and sometimes the horrible Venn diagram is, you know, we have a black young adult who's on the spectrum, and then it's like, oh, I'm like,
Or has other medical issues.
Or has
going
other
on.
medical
There's
issues
a young
going
man, a young black man who was not on the subway, but in the subway area. I've never lived somewhere with subways, so I don't know what to call these things. But where like you wait for the
Oh,
subway.
platform.
Yeah, like the
Yeah,
platform.
yeah,
Yeah. And he's trying to explain to the officers, I'm about to have a seizure.
Yeah.
I have epilepsy. I'm about to have a seizure. He starts to have a seizure, and they tase him. And I'm just like,
That's like
and
the
this
worst
is
thing
video.
that you could do for
This
a
is like
seizure.
video.
Yeah.
And he's explaining to them, and they're just saying that he's, you know, resisting arrest and all of these things. And I'm just like, he literally is telling them, I'm about to have a seizure.
Yeah.
And he
And he can
and he
feel it
does.
coming.
Yeah.
aren't the police in the heart of a perfect society.
Aren't the police there to protect the most vulnerable of us?
Yeah.
And to me, and again, maybe I'll get heat for this, but to me, the most vulnerable are kids who aren't neurotypical, because we're not 100% certain how they're going to react in different situations. And if we want to talk about socioeconomics, the kids that are growing up in rougher neighborhoods, whatever their color, because they're going to be more prone to violence, because that's what they see every day.
Yeah.
So if these
And our
are
kids who are people of color.
right, because
Yeah.
again, it's not that anyone is less intelligent, anyone is less strong, anyone is less understanding of the way society works. It's that these are the kids that are pigeonholed, these are the kids that are targeted, these are the kids that are, as has been proven time and time again, at more risk for bullying,
Right.
at more risk for not knowing how to deal with a situation in the appropriate way because they don't have those resources told that are available to them.
And
So
sometimes
then
their
where
first
do I
instinct
turn?
is panic.
Yes.
You know, and you don't
Yes.
know
Well,
what's going to happen when
that's
you
a human
panic.
instinct. though.
Exactly.
You know that I think that's even with animals too.
Yeah.
You know, that's the first instinct you have is fight. Or, it's flight. It's literally flight because
Yeah.
you're trying to save yourself, right? So the first thing you want to
But
do
you
is
know
run
that you
away.
can't flight, and so you panic. And suddenly you're a deer in the headlights or a rabbit who's just like,
I don't know what I'm doing.
what do I do?
And it's
You
so
know?
fascinating though that we say, like you were just thinking of fight or flight, even though you're
Yeah.
like, no, it's fight or panic.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's so interesting though that our at-risk young people, when have we seen video of someone fighting back? They don't fight.
No.
They
No.
panic or flee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, it's not even like, oh, the animal instinct is kicking in, you know, this kiddo on the
No,
spectrum
they're on
started
the ground
fighting
and they're
police.
being
No, they're
tased or
not.
shot.
Exactly.
You know, where, you know, I have my brother who has often had interactions with the police, where he was a teenager. He was in his you know, younger 20s. And he's a smartass, and he's very proud of it, and he doesn't like the cops, and so he gives them so much shit. And he thinks it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And he's neurotypical,
Right.
and white,
Yeah.
and male.
Yeah. And so
And
he's
so
still
he
with us.
does what he wants, and they deal with it. And he's never gotten in trouble when he's gotten in trouble for other reasons, but he's never gotten in trouble for his interactions with the police.
Yeah.
Right.
He's just like, "Are you arresting me? Can I go now?"
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I could
he's
say
telling me laughing, and I'm just like,
I can say that I've heard stories about friends who've been with white males, and you know, these so-called males would get snarky with the police, never have anything happen to them, right? And I would never ever be able to ever see my kid ever doing anything like that.
No.
You know,
No.
not ever. And I have been so fortunate that he has not had to deal with a situation, you know, like that. But there is still that fear that tomorrow or day after tomorrow or day after tomorrow that something is going to happen. You know, we are in the process of getting him a new car, and I'm like,
which means he's driving.
yes, he's totally driving,
Yeah.
and I'm like, you know, he deserves the best of the best, right? And I want to get him a great car, but I'm scared that if he's driving this great car, that he'll get pulled over because they don't think that it's his car. There was a story that my friend had just that my friend was telling me about a woman who was driving in a state with a BMW, I want to say.
Okay.
And so she got pulled over, and she was arrested. She was abused and beaten. She was drugged and put into a mental institution because they did not believe that the car was hers and they thought that she was lying. So instead of checking her registration, which they didn't do, or calling any of the friends on her phone to ask if she had this, or her license or anything to verify if it was her, to verify the name that was on the registration was the name on the driver's license. They assumed that she was lying, that the car was hers. They threw her in a psych ward for 72 hours and continuously drugged her every single day until somebody did something about it. And I'm like, I could see something so much worse happening to Christopher if
Yeah,
You know-
I mean, I almost want to say, and yet, probably the story ends with, and then everything is right, and she gets to sue the police, right?
Yeah.
You know, with Christopher or with Maxwell, you know, Maxwell's pulled over and suddenly, you know, I can just imagine,
Yeah.
you know, the police officer coming up behind the car, and Max is already in his glove box trying to get all of his paperwork together, and
And they
that's
think
it,
it's
that's done,
something,
it's
yeah.
done. So, and to me, when I think about, we all face different challenges as parents, right? You know, like some of us have kiddos that have learning disabilities, or some of us have kiddos who, you know, it is a shared custody type situation that isn't pretty, and so there's all of that emotional stuff. We all, as we like to say, there is no owner's manual that comes with our kids, but when we're talking about how do we have to change our parenting approaches because the world has made an increased threat of violence against our children, I feel like I am floundering as a mom to say, what do I say that is too much?
Yeah.
I don't want him terrified of the world, but at the same time, I want him to be safe. I mean, how did Chris react when you had the talks with him?
Well, the amazing thing with social media now is that our kids have access to literally everything.
True.
So,
The blessing and the curse.
the blessing and the curse. But I feel like for me, or maybe I'm just really, really lucky, is that he has access to all of this information that if I say, Chris, you know, you're on your way home, do I need to order you a Lyft? Or, you know, are you having, like, do you feel, like anytime he feels unsafe or anything like that, he lets me know.
Mhm.
I say, hey, go into the first building that you see, that's a public place. You know, so that way you're not just walking in the street by yourself, right? Because he takes the bus home from school, unless, if my mom's home, he'll take the bus home to either my sister's house or my mom's house, or if my dad's available, my dad will usually come and pick him up, so that way he doesn't have to walk.
We should throw in here that the reason that Christopher wouldn't be coming home to Abby is that
Christopher
is away across
Yes.
the country for school.
Yes,
Yeah,
Chris,
so-
Chris is currently in school for engineering.
Yeah.
So when I say my kid is smart, I don't know how he's my kid still. He's very, very smart.
Yeah.
He's actually doing mechanical engineering courses right now. And so he's with my parents because he is going to one of the top rated schools in the United States of America, especially when it comes to technical work. So my parents are making sure that he is protected. Mind you, this is Newark, New Jersey, so it's not as bad, which is bad to say because Newark, New Jersey is bad.
You wouldn't think that.
You wouldn't
Yeah.
think that, but with the population of majority, you know, African Americans or just people in color in general, you have Latinos, you have Portuguese, you have African, Haitian, Jamaican. You know, you have a beautiful mixture of culture.
No, it makes a
Oh,
huge
there.
difference. I
It
mean,
makes a
I grew up
massive
in
difference.
Bremerton, which is like 10 miles from here.
Yeah.
And the difference between there, which is very diverse, and like, I
That's
would
'cause
say,
they have the base there.
oh yeah, because they have the base.
Yeah.
So I would say like at my high school, it was like, just to break it out really crudely, like a third white, a third black, and a third like Filipino.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, and that's just how I grew up, and it was just like people were just people, and that was cool. And then I moved here where we live in Port Orchard, and I was like, oh good lord.
Yeah.
But 10 years
Yeah.
ago,
And
it was
it does
very
make a-
whitewashed.
Yeah.
It's still pretty white. But it's better, it's white.
I guess that's
entirely.
I'm not saying that that's a bad thing.
I am.
I am, come at me on Facebook, I'm ready.
And actually, the only reason I say that is that I believe what makes America great.
Great.
Oh good lord.
I
knew you were gonna say
Makes America great. Not great again. Not great back when.
I've been trying to
Never
serve
great,
people.
but it was never same.
But-
It's never great. Watch
I think the
watch
thing
newsroom.
that makes America great, the thing that I wish was the core element for all of us, was that it's a melting pot.
Yeah.
It's
It
not
used
a
to be.
homogenized
Yeah.
culture
Yeah.
the way we see it with some other countries. So if we could live by that idea,
Mhm.
that ideology, hey, let's make the greatest thing about our country that we're a great melting pot.
Yeah.
Let's do that. That would be fun. Let's adopt each other's cultures and really let's just be all the big melting pot.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if that could actually
Yeah,
be
if
a
all
thing,
of the
that
people
would be
who have-
fabulous.
Of all the people who came
Wasn't
over.
that the idea of it in the first place?
That's what I feel. I feel like, so it's like if I say let's make America great again, I mean way back, oh no, there was slavery. Okay, way back, oh no, the Irish couldn't get jobs. Okay,
Yeah.
way back. Oh, fuck.
They
It should
slaughtered
be-
all
it
of the
should be
First Nations
great
people.
Because of the ideology that we never really stood up
Yeah.
to. Let's embrace that big melting pot.
Yeah, if we could just remember that our grandparents, our great-grandparents, our great-great-grandparents all came here as immigrants,
Mhm.
that'd be cool. And when you're thinking about immigration,
Oh, we're not gonna get on that.
maybe just think about the people who came over here.
Yeah.
Who were immigrants. Just a thought.
It's
just
so
a thought.
But it's funny because I had someone come up to me and they were like, go back to your country. And that's when the British came out and I was like, how about you come back with me? And the guy was just like, and mind you, he said some other things
Silly Oh,
too.
colonists.
But I was just like,
Oh,
the guy didn't say anything after that, right?
Yeah.
Because he was there with his friends and he wanted to, be the big shot and all this other stuff. And this was right after the elections. So, he wanted to just be that person that was like, yeah, I just told that person,
Yeah.
because he said something else,
Mhm.
to go back to their country. And I'm like, yeah, but guess what? We came from the same place.
So I just wanted to bring up, even though I know we did talk about a lot about police brutality and violence, that's not the only thing that our kids are facing.
Yeah.
They're facing with dealing with bullying in school.
Mhm.
They're facing their peers
Mhm.
attacking them. They're facing violence from authority, from peers, from pretty much the whole spectrum
Yeah.
that you could.
Sometimes even from parents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
too much from parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why can't you just be normal?
Mhm.
Why can't you just act the way I need you to act?
Yeah.
It's
Like, can you
especially.
be like your brother or sister?
Why are you so
thank
sensitive?
Yes, why are you so sensitive?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that it is hard, and especially, again, I can't speak to raising a black son, but I can speak to raising a non-neurotypical son. That idea, neurodivergent, yeah, there we go.
Yes.
A neurodivergent son, or as I like to say, Maxwell.
Awesome. I just like to say awesome.
Yeah,
right.
but
That's me.
One of my things that actually I believe I may have even talked to both of you guys about in the past is that
We work with a lot of different actors and a lot of different artists, many of which tell me upon first meeting, oh, I also have a son with autism, and how horrible it is for me as a mom when they then go on to describe their child in terms that are lacking. And I'm like, wow, you need to be in therapy, not your kid, though maybe your kid too, to deal with how you clearly are. They know that you're talking about them like this out in the world,
Yeah.
using words like
handicapped, retarded.
yes, about their own child, and speaking to me as if
Those aren't
you
the
know,
only ones.
No, they aren't.
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying. And I'm like,
No, I don't.
No, we're not in a
No,
special
you
club where we
say.
talk crap about our children. No.
And that is.
We're in the club where we see our children as equal people.
Yes.
And
Human
full
beings.
human beings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I stopped and thought about the moms that we have invited to be guests on Mom on Mom in this first season, I thought, you know what, I'd be willing to bet, without asking anyone, just because we know you guys, all of these are folks that practice child-first parenting. The child is not your possession.
Yeah.
The child is not here because you owe me, I created you.
I can take you out of this world,
But-
I'll put you into
Right,
it.
exactly. But rather that we respect from the beginning and from an incredibly early age, you are a human being in and of your own right, and you deserve to be treated with respect. Now, and I think there's a bad stereotype that we're the moms that are the pushovers, we're the moms that, oh, we want to be your best friend. No, I don't want to be my kid's best friend.
No.
I am one of their moms, that's it. But I do respect them as a human being, not as a
Exactly.
possession of myself.
Yeah.
So I think that, but I do want to say, these other parents, when they talk to me like this, this is the time when we can think about parents that raise their kids in a different way. They're either children of color or they're neurodivergent?
Yeah.
Okay, kiddos, in a different way than what we do. So I understand, there are these other parents, and they're okay with using words like handicap or retarded or things that I just don't use. And when I put myself into their shoes, what I say is, wow, they are really sad.
Yeah.
They must have wanted something so different.
I wanted any son, and what I got is the most perfect son for me. But I think about, because it's been moms and dads, so I can't even genderize this.
Yeah.
But I think they must be so sad, and I do hope that they do get help. And I try as much as I can to say, you know, autism isn't that albatross around your child's neck. Your disappointment in them in something they can't control
Is the albatross.
Right, and it's the same thing as saying, well, I wanted a son who played football, or I wanted a daughter to,
Oh my God.
Right.
you know, but it's the same idea. You know, I didn't get the son I wanted, I didn't get the daughter I wanted a daughter,
Start all over again.
you know, who's gonna be the varsity cheerleader, and she's an actor, and she does drama, and it just, you know, those drama kids are nerds.
Yeah.
And, you know,
I
I'm
try to
just
have
like,
empathy.
Yeah.
You know, I try to
I
have
thought you wanted a
empathy.
kid.
Right, exactly.
Not a cookie cutter that you can say, okay, and her name's gonna be Ashley, and she's gonna be a cheerleader. She's gonna be really popular and blonde, and what you got was like this little scraggly, dark-haired, nerdy
Who
child.
likes to read.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's fine.
It's
Yeah.
crazy
That's
because
fine.
what parents used to have to deal with earlier, the times have changed so drastically and so much that it's about, for me at least, it's about just being with your kid. Having a kid.
Yeah.
There's so many people out there today that aren't able to do that. You know, they're not either allowed in some way, shape, or form, or it's impossible for them to have it. So it's like, you had this opportunity to create life, and the fact that you have that life in your life makes you the luckiest person in the world.
I agree.
And you just have to see it as that. Everyone, I keep telling friends, and like, listen, there is no book out there that is designed to teach you how to be a parent to your specific kid. It is all personal experience. That's it. You can join as many mom groups as you want to, or dad groups, or mom, you know, meetups, or whatever. But none of those moms know who your child is. None of those dads know how your child is. Only you do. And only you are going to know how to be around your kid. And only you are going to know how to raise your kid the best way possible. So like, it drives me insane when I hear other moms saying, oh, well, you should do this to your kid because that's how it's supposed to be done.
Yeah, you
And
really
it's
should be
like,
having them do this,
or
yeah.
enroll them in this.
well, my
because
kid does
is what
this,
my
so
kid
your
does.
kid should do that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my kid is not your kid. My kid
Right.
will never
Well,
be
and
your kid.
for people who have more than one kid, those kids aren't the same kids.
Exactly.
You
So
can't have two kids the
stop
same
comparing
way.
them. Please
Now,
stop comparing them.
What would you say to a mom a black mom in America today, who said to you, well, I told my son to wear hoodies anytime he wants and to walk in such and such a streets or whatever it is, because, you know, I don't want my son to live in fear. And, you know, if he gets shot by, you know, some criminal or so big, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
really, I mean, I'm over hyping it, but
Yeah.
really the argument is, I'm not going to teach my children to live in fear.
Yeah.
Every other kid can wear a hoodie on a dark street. I'm going to tell my kid they can wear whatever they want.
Yeah. Honestly, for that, it's really hard. It's hard because I know that we haven't experienced what it's like to have something happen. You know, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Seriously. And yes, living in fear can help, but at the same time, it's up to you. It is up to you to raise your child the way that you want to, if you feel that that is best. If you feel deep down in your heart of hearts, because if something happens, we are all, no matter what, going to be here for you. But look at the world that we live in. And I love the people that say that they don't see color. I think that is awesome.
that's great. If we lived in a world that didn't have someone shot because of the color of their skin almost every single day, you know, in some town or whatever. Now we have a point where we're being told that we don't have authority over our own bodies anymore, especially if we're trying to become moms or if we don't want to become moms. You know, it's getting to a point where things are starting to get out of control. And I'm sorry, but if you feel that you can walk on a tightrope without a harness, then you go right for it, because that's literally what it means to have your kid go out there and think that they can do whatever the hell they want, because they can't. I'm sorry, especially as a kid of color, you just can't. You cannot go up to a police officer and wave your hands around and think that you're gonna get that kid's gonna come back home, because I'm sorry to tell you, but not saying that all cops are trigger happy, because I have really one of some of my really good friends are cops. That's not a racist statement.
Well, I mean, you have friends who are cops.
I do.
You're not anti-police.
I'm not.
You know,
Right.
you got friends, yeah.
Blue light, sorry. No, I feel I know what I need to do for my child.
Yeah.
I don't think it is wrong for me to feel the way that I need to, especially when my kid is over here celebrating, not even celebrating, but in his school they're doing days of silence for kids who are in high school who were gunned down because of their race or because of their religion or, you know, whatever it is. Or one day some kid got pissed off because he was picked on and he decided to shoot a whole bunch of people. You know, like, why are high schools doing that?
Yeah.
You know, because they have to bring awareness that this is something that's happening, and other high schools need to learn how to make sure that kids are not gunned down.
Yeah.
When all they are supposed to be doing is learning.
Isn't it fascinating that this episode, you know, because we talked about violence based on gender, this episode could literally have been children at higher risk of violence. You know, every child in an American public school.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I mean, because you know, how many homeschooled kids are getting shot? I mean, it's just not, I mean, I'm not actually trying to make a joke. I'm like, our children in our public school system are at a higher risk of violence.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, that's color, gender, doesn't matter, anywhere. These shootings are happening all over the country.
All over.
And yet, it's just like Abby, you said earlier in this episode, and all of us see this, some of us are even seeing these videos firsthand, this stuff captured. What are we doing? What's being done? They're still happening.
Yeah.
All of this is still happening. And so I feel like as moms, it does always come back to that, okay, well, how are we going to teach our kids? Now, and how horrible to say, I have to teach my 6-year-old what to do in case of a lockdown.
Yeah.
How to lay on the floor and be still and pretend to be dead.
Oh, no, I mean, you don't have to do that. The school will do that.
Oh, right.
The school's
Yeah.
going to teach your kid
You
how
know,
to be
because
in a
apparently the
lockdown and
teachers are
hide
supposed
from
to
a
have
shooter.
assault weapons now, too.
Right.
You see, but it's like, it's like if we, to play with science fiction for a minute, you know, if we all woke up tomorrow and there was radiation in the air, would we say, well, you kids, don't worry about it, just go out there, you don't have to wear your gas masks.
Yeah,
You know,
that's literally.
right? If society changes, we have to change our parenting styles.
Yeah.
And it would be great to be able to just put our heads in the sand and not talk about some of these hard things. Actually, I was talking to a relative recently, and I mentioned that Brianne and I have already had the talk, you know what the talk used to mean, sex. We'd already had the talk with both the kids. Oh, they're too young. I'm like, are you kidding me?
This happened years ago. This happened years ago.
No, and-
10 years, as soon as they're, and
when
every
we-
child is different.
And when we start dating, we're going to have to talk again.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Agreement.
But you see the kinds of things,
Yeah.
times change.
Yeah.
We have to change with them.
That's why we're vaccinating for HPV at 11 and 12.
Yeah.
Right.
Because by 13, you may be too late.
Yeah. And like,
You know?
I had the talk
Yeah.
with Christopher when he was 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because you
You don't know.
have to.
You don't know, and you'd rather talk to them.
I
You're like,
know.
oh, I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd rather
whatever, you'll
have a
get over
conversation
it.
with
Now
them
at least you're
than having
educated.
a conversation with somebody else.
Oh, absolutely.
Someone
Yeah.
who is like a friend who has no idea
Right.
what they're talking
Yeah,
about
it's gonna
because
fill
they
their
just
heads
saw
with
it off of
rumors
TV or
and
something.
misinformation.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's just it's exactly as you were saying, like the way that we raised kids before in the early 1900s or 1800s are
Yeah.
going to be completely different
Mm-hmm.
now. You know, the way
Yeah.
that they were raising them, and unfortunately, right now we live in a world where it is really scary.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know when that's gonna change. And it's bad to be a pessimist, you know, everyone always says, but I feel like as long as we have our nose in the books and our heads in the sand, that we can keep safe. But we can still, you know, in the background, fight at the same time too.
I should say, keep your head down.
Yes,
Keep yourself safe.
yes,
But
but still fight.
continue to move forward. Yes.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm sorry. And I do follow you.
Yeah,
Yes. Okay.
yeah. It's, you know, it's one of those things that you just have to find what works for you.
Yeah.
You know, that and just keep doing it and make sure that you're spreading awareness and stuff like that, because you know, there was a point where I didn't see anything ever happening. I didn't see anything
Yeah.
ever changing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because every single day you hear about something.
Mm-hmm.
Something, someone, another boy, a girl,
Mm-hmm.
you know, someone who's just minding their business, driving
Right.
home. And
A
so,
teenager in a swimsuit.
yeah,
Just trying to hang out.
yeah, someone, you know, two boys at a Starbucks, minding their own business, waiting for a friend.
Right? Yeah.
You know, it's just this ridiculous circumstances, and
Yeah.
you're just like,
Mm-hmm.
I do that.
Yes.
You know,
Right.
I know Chris is way into
Yeah.
Starbucks now too. You know, I have to tell him, I'm like, kid, did you hear what happened? He's like, yeah, Mom, I'm never going to Starbucks again. It's like, what do you do?
Yeah. Right.
What do you do when,
Yeah.
when you have a kid that says that? What do you do when, you know, you're talking to them about, okay, we're looking at getting this car for you, and they're like, well, I don't know about, you know, a car like that because I'm worried that like I might get pulled over, you know, or
Well, and I feel like
something
you're in
might
a,
happen to me.
between a rock and a hard place, because it's like if you get too nice of a car, then oh, he stole it. But if it's
Yeah.
not a nice car, then oh, he's probably some gangbanger, you
Yeah.
know. And I'm just like, so he's supposed to have like a nice but not too nice,
Yeah.
kind of very regular
Yeah.
looking.
Not red.
Not red.
No, not red.
No spoiler.
Not my car.
No spoilers.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no rims.
Right.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
no,
or
no, no,
anything.
no, no.
And it wasn't, and it's crazy. It's so crazy that we were at a place where if they got a nice car, they would get robbed. Now, you have a nice car and you might get shot by the police who pulled you over.
Right.
You know, and like I said, once again, I'm not trying to knock on the police.
No.
But that's what our news is littered with right
Mhm.
now. So unless they start getting some kind of special training where it's not shoot first, you know, maybe it's
Yeah.
you don't have a gun and maybe you have a taser, or if you have a gun, use your taser first or
Right.
something so
Yeah.
that you are not actually taking someone else's life.
And erratic behaviors in someone that you've stopped doesn't automatically mean they're on drugs or they're violent or they have a weapon.
Yeah.
It could literally mean that they're panicking, that they're afraid, that they're on the spectrum, that they have
Mhm.
something else going on. It is hard to be a mom.
Mhm.
And I think that is one thing across all topics and across all variations on a topic or views on a topic that we all agree with. It is not easy to be a
No.
mom.